More bad polling news for Donald Trump, and isn't that a shame? But it's both across the swing states and across a number of issue areas that are absolutely critical to Donald Trump's efforts to get a second term. We're gonna get to that, and that's maybe my favorite part of this. There's a couple of amazing results, but first I wanna talk about the swing states because they are, of course, the best states, and they should be able to determine who gets to be president. But anyway, Morning Consult released this, and they have Harris leading in 6 of the 7 swing states, and in the one that she's not, it is even. That's Georgia. It's one of those states where if she wins that, then it's probably, good night. She's won. But these leads, I mean, look, some like in Wisconsin, she's up by 3. That's not a huge lead. But Pennsylvania up by 5. Like, he has to win Pennsylvania. He can't not win Pennsylvania. And so that is certainly good. Nevada 7-point lead, Arizona 3. That's a state where she was trailing not that long ago, or I should say Biden was trailing, and we'll certainly get to the difference between those two candidacies.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
But I also want to mention the issue areas. We're talking about both. So Donald Trump wants to win on the back of 2 issues. Immigration, which he is still leading on, and we'll get to that, but particularly the economy. The economy is really bad, inflation is really bad, which is both somewhat objectively true, but he also definitely wants you to think that. Well, that is slipping. And so his advantage on the issue of the economy was just 4 points up on Harris in the most recent Bloomberg poll, down from 6 points just in the previous month. And so when they were asked, who they trust more to handle the cost of everyday goods, sort of the inflation measure, they're basically tied. 47 for Trump, 46 for Harris. And that is not how this is supposed to be. And maybe it would be different if he had actually stayed on message at the debate. Instead, he decided to talk about people eating corgis or something. But anyway, that's Bloomberg. In Fox News, they found that 51% of registered voters favor Trump on the economy compared to 46 who favor Harris. So it's a 5-point lead for him. He had a 15-point lead over Biden on the same metric in just March. And a number of other polls show that there has been that sort of shift from earlier this year and to now. And so that makes sense. She is a better messenger on those issues, but also the economy is doing better than it was. Inflation is down, jobs are being generated, the economy is bouncing back. If you are one of the relatively small number of Americans that can invest in the stock market is also breaking records. And so it makes sense that the polls would sort of follow that. But as I said, he is still leading on immigration, 53-39. I don't think people are super surprised about that, or surprised that she is, massively leading on the topic of abortion. And so some of this is maybe not that surprising. The swing state polls, I think, are pretty interesting. Brett, what do you make of it?
I don't want to spend too much time wondering why people are angry about immigration. I don't want, because it's really depressing. I will say that also there's very little daylight between the two on their policy standpoints on immigration. I just want people to know that it's the same. And then also Trump backs the blue. Kamala's a prosecutor. It's weird. And then I think the secret thing when you talk about any polls is, okay, people get a phone call from a pollster and they have to say things out loud to a person. What are they ashamed to say? What kind of daylight might there be? What are people going to do when they steal away inside a polling booth, or when they fill out a form by themselves and put it in the mail or in a Dropbox? I think abortion is the big key issue here. I think that the Republicans are at a severe disadvantage, and you can point to every state that's had an individual referendum on that when it comes to abortion. I think the other thing is folks are like, I just don't like Hillary Clinton, and then they voted for Trump. And then they're like, I just don't like Trump, and they voted for Biden. And I think there's still, I really don't like Trump and abortion, I'm voting for Harris. And I think that's just probably going to be the sad tiny little microcosm that, given how much money is spent on this thing, it's going to come down to. But I think they're probably quaking in their boots over there in Trump world, and they're doing all these horrible, cynical things to try to undercut any sense that Kamala Harris is what people want.
Yeah. Look, if they are rational, either for his sake or for their future sake of wanting to get a job in the Trump administration, none of this is how this was supposed to look for them.